Welcome to Black Men Unfiltered Network. Guys, we got another great opportunity to share something great with you. Tonight, I present to you, without further ado, our new show on the Black Men Unfiltered Network called Pro Bono. I got two guys, and the motto of this show is, we're bringing the receipts. So anything you hear tonight is not, and further, will not ever be a lie. They're bringing the receipts. They're not here to lie to you. They're here to be true to you. And so we present our show tonight on the Black Men Unfiltered Network, Pro Bono, with two individuals who are going to bring it. We got Angry Snowman. Are you ready? All right, he's ready. All right, we got Illuminated Revelation. Are you ready? Absolutely he is. Guys, are you ready for what's about to happen tonight? We're going to talk about your voting. We're going to talk about your rights. We're going to talk about your civics. We're going to talk about everything, the conspiracies, everything that has to do with law and voting and politics. Guys, you asked for it, and now it's here on the Black Men Unfiltered Network. Guys, get ready. It's about to happen right now, right after this powerful intro. Pro Bono.
Yo, what's up, Illuminated? You there?
Oh, I'm here.
Were you taking a nap?
Oh no, just looking up some stuff again. Yeah.
What's good with you tonight? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah. Got an
All right.
echo. We got a serious echo.
Do we?
Yeah. Okay.
Is it on my end?
Yeah.
Because I don't hear it, so it must be
And
me.
delay.
Yeah, BMU said he doesn't hear it either.
Let me see.
Let Let me see if they hear it out. Let me check it. I'll turn the volume up
Okay.
on this.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, you got it fixed. Yeah, see, Black David said nothing out there, and
yeah, it was me. I had another window open.
So, what do you think of that intro, man? Shout out to BMU. That was dope. That his intro of us, and then that intro for the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was nice, man. That was nice.
That was nice. That was real nice, man. So, shout out to BMU and shout out to BMU and Black David for giving me and Illuminated this opportunity to come up and share some of the information and knowledge that we have with all of you guys. So what is it that we're doing, Illuminated? What are we going to be doing for the people on the Black Man Unfiltered Network?
Basically, we're going to be discussing politics, government, government 101. So,
like, what we're going to be given a high school version civics course, basically. My goal, I don't know about you, but like my goal personally is, since we're coming into a new election cycle and we got primaries coming up, I wanted to be one of the few, I wanted to be one of the few unbiased, quote unquote reporter types out here that are giving you guys the information about each candidate that's running. Not a biased view, not a swayed view, but an unbiased view. Where me and Illuminated are going to do our best to try and find all the candidates and look as far back as we can into them and give you a real understanding and picture of who these candidates are, for one.
correct.
Is that fair?
Oh yeah. Also, too, a lot of times what they'll highlight another candidate that the mainstream media is trying to promote, and then we have to give an objective view, but also give some background, because as we delve into this, as far as this governmental structure of what the United States is, and then you're going to find out what the United States isn't, So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to really make sure people have the basics, and then we can get off into the down and dirty. But main thing I want to do is make sure we lay a foundation as to what we're trying to accomplish. Most people may know all this already, but according to what we've seen on these YouTube streets, when people go out and ask basic questions, their civics 101 is something that's very lacking. And I would encourage people to download, because I took the test myself, to take the naturalization test. It's 100 questions. Then they have another one that you can do as a precursor to take. So I encourage people to take that. That's a nice test. Gives you understanding of the basics of what you're supposed to know about your country and everything, and the history of it. So it was pretty nice.
I know we got about 4 months until primary season starts.
Yeah, and the way this political, yeah.
Well, the reason why I asked is the way I see it is me and Illuminated have 4 months to go through and the Constitution itself and break it down and give everybody a real understanding of what it is that their civic duty is doing. That way you have a full understanding of, the government. You have a full understanding of, presidential powers, the separation of powers.
Mm-hmm.
What Congress is, what their role is, what the Supreme Court is, what its role is. And that way, when you go into this election, you'll have a real understanding of what it is you're doing. And again, it's not for saying that you don't know. I'm very well aware that there are going to be a lot of people that already know a lot of the stuff that we're teaching and sharing,
Exactly.
but there's still a lot of people that don't know,
Yep.
so if this is for those people, and it's also for the people that do know, because you never know, you might pick up something that you didn't know before, and just as a preface, I just wanted to throw out there that everything that me and Illuminated share with you is just our educated opinions about the things that we have studied and that we have read and we have looked into. None of this stuff is legal advice by no means at all whatsoever.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. But yeah, it's a U.S. Citizenship Immigration Services test, civics history, and government questions or naturalization test, and it goes on some basic questions. I advise people just go and take it, and just to see where you're at as far as from an educational perspective, and just a lot of us have been out of school for a little bit, and some of us have been back to college and got our degrees and things of that nature. But it's basic good questions. We might read a few, and then those who join the chat can type in their answers. We'll just read a few of them after we get off into the show. Snowman is going to take the lead on this one. He's going to be talking about the preamble of the Constitution, and then we might pull up some current events dealing with the political news and things that's going on.
Right. And the reason why I chose the preamble today is because, to me, I don't know about Illuminate, but to me, I think that my personal opinion about the preamble is it is literally probably the most important part of the Constitution that gets overlooked the most. What do you think? Is that a fair statement, or do you disagree?
Oh yeah. Oh no, it is, because if you think about it, they just highlight the main parts of the Constitution, or main thing now is the Second Amendment and free speech, and that's about it. Mostly, that's what they mostly highlight. Maybe the Fourth Amendment, which is dealing with illegal search and seizure, but other than that, they don't. A lot of people don't really want to get off into the other parts of the constitutions,
Right.
that govern us. Like I said, we're going to have what we call a down and dirty show in the coming weeks after we go over the basics, and you're going to be surprised at what's going to happen when you find out, because a lot of things we're going to find out after we go over the basics. You're going to find out a lot of things that wasn't taught to us in civics class, wasn't taught to us back in the 80s, 90s, 70s, even 60s, so just get ready to prepare. And I just hope that everybody has a open heart and mind and have the ability to receive. We don't, like Snowman said, that we don't know everything. Yes, we're going to be challenged. We may even say some things that may be out the box, and we have to come back and correct some things. But by no means, this is no legal advice or anything like that. We're just, main thing is just to give information. It's our duty as American, and it's our duty to learn and know these things, because the dumbing down America is just too obvious right now. So I just hope that you guys be able to receive, come by, and then you'll get some inkling as to what's coming up on the next show, so you can prepare and study for it. And then once we start inviting people up and having interactions, and we'll start expanding the show in other areas. But right now it's just going to be the basics.
Mm-hmm. And shout out to everybody that's here so far already. We appreciate you coming and supporting what it is that we do. We appreciate you supporting Black Man Unfiltered Network and everything that he's been doing to try and provide a neutral platform for people to come and have, real discussions about real things that are actually really affecting the American people.
That's it.
Hey, that's
and also too, we also want to provide an area where, as one mentor of mine taught me to get off the familiar trail and to get off into something where you can have an honest and intellectual discussion, to where nothing against no other content creator, no slam against them, but there's different areas of what people would like to come and try to discuss and bring awareness to what's going on from a geopolitical and from a global perspective. I've always looked at it like that, you know. So other than that, we're just going to have some fun, you know. Like I say, this is my introduction to basically YouTube, and hopefully I don't mess this thing up, but we're here to learn and to grow and to humble myself. So I'm just going to have fun with it.
You'll do just fine, old man.
Yeah.
But I guess with that, you know, if you ain't got anything further to say as far as introduction wise, I'll have Black David share my screen real quick, and I'll let everybody, even though I'm sure they remember it because we all had to memorize this when we were in high school. All of us, if you remember it. I remember I had to memorize it in order to pass American history class. How about you?
Oh, yeah.
You know, so let's see what the preamble is. We'll just go ahead and let them play it.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
There it is. There it is. So let's break this down. Let's go right to the beginning, right there, that we the people part. Let's look at that first. Just the we the people of the United States in order to form a more perfect union. That's that chunk. What, if you were to sit and think about that, what would that mean to you? Illuminated. What do you think they're trying to say?
Well, we the people, those who are, how can I put this, citizens, natural born, and are of the origin of the United States, as far as all 50 of the United States and its territories.
Well, you got to remember, at that point, there were only 13.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, I agree with that. Me, when I read that, I see that as it sets the tone. And what it does is it's establishing right from the beginning that any and all power of the government comes from the people. That the government isn't actually the ones with the power. The power is coming from we, the people that have given them the power to govern for us. That's what I think. I mean, that's how I feel that what that says and what they meant by that, you know. I mean, it was basically saying that the government would not exist if it wasn't for the people, you know, allowing them to represent them and putting the trust in them to actually do it in a correct and untotalitarian way.
That is correct.
You know, so, and that's really important because up until now, there was never another government where the people were the ones that were represented by the government, nor did the people have the power to choose what the face of the government looked like. This was the first time in history that this experiment had ever been tried.
That is true. And that's why basically the United States has been what they call the beacon of hope, you know, that last bastion of light and freedom. And that's why a lot of people want to come here, is because of the it's called the land of opportunity, you know. But not to get off subject, but after what recent events have been going on, it's almost like it's starting to fade. That light is starting to fade. And if they, foreigners have said, and immigrants have said, if this light goes out, there will be no hope, so we just have to keep this light and keep this hope alive to where people can still come. But we have to get our house in order, our affairs in order, as we continue to strive for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as it says.
So the next part here is the in order to form a more perfect union part. To me, as I've read this and I've went through the Constitution, in order to form a more perfect union, that is them acknowledging that the difficulties that they had trying to start a country under the former, what you would call Constitution, which was the Articles of Confederation, and their willingness to acknowledge and fix the weaknesses that were in the Articles of Confederation and try and provide a better system of govern than what they were doing prior to now. What say you, Illuminated?
I say that what was being done when you're starting something new that has never been done before, it's almost like you're doing it to perfect. You're perfecting something that, okay, here's what we need to do. We need to establish a foundation. We need to put in, for lack of a better term, some rules, some regulations, and some guidance as to how this, quote unquote, it's been called, this new experiment is going to pan out. So when it says in order to form a more perfect union, like it's been said over the years, the United States is not perfect. And it's probably the most youngest nation probably on the planet compared to, China, India, and some of the other more nations in Africa. So this is something that they were trying to do to mete out this experiment, coming from a monarchy to a democracy. And people don't really know how big that is.
Well, that's actually really huge. And we got to remember that the reason why all this is going on is because there was no real law and order in America. I mean, we were under the jurisdiction of the crown at the time, and the king he didn't care enough about the colonies over here to even send anyone over to enforce whatever the crown's rules were. If you got in that much trouble, they would literally send someone over, put you on a ship, and ship you back to England. So things were really kind of running amok here in the country. And that's how the Articles of Confederation came about anyhow, is that, the colonists trying to find some kind of way to have law and order and civilized society here with a king that cared less about what was going on.
That's right. Yeah. Still wanted to maintain that power all the way from across the ocean. God bless his soul. Yep. But we broke free from that.
But the next part of this is where we start getting into, okay, so we've already pointed out that the preamble has established the fact that the people are the ones that are the ones that give the government its power. That the power comes from we the people. It's already noted that we are trying to form a better union than we had before because we realized we made mistakes with the first documents that we had, and we're trying to fix that. Now we're going to start getting into what it is that they want this new document to do. And the first thing is establish justice. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory in and of itself. Establish justice is, for lack of a better word, it's creating a judicial system that ensures people's rights are protected and laws are enforced fairly and interpret it and interpreted fairly as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so that's kind of a self-explanatory thing. If you want justice, I mean that's like the truest and most rawest form of justice right there. It is fair and free justice. Now, the next part that they got is ensure domestic tranquility. Now, let's look at the definition of domestic. What does domestic mean? Domestic means your home, right?
That's correct.
And tranquility, that means to have peace, correct?
That is right.
So what that's stating is that we need laws that protect the citizens at home and to keep order in society, correct?
Yep.
Keep the peace. That is how you you got to keep order in a society to help keep the peace. That is how you keep peace within the country.
Yep.
You know, so
I look at it also too like this, though, man. When you talk about justice, ensure domestic tranquility, that means to me peace towards your fellow man within the confines of your state, your home, your neighbors, and things of that nature. That was the original intent. We're going to mete out justice in a fair and righteous way. That way, if anybody gets out of line, you know, we can make sure that we punish them according to our newly established laws. That way we can maintain peace, because like you said, they just came out of war, you know, the original 13 colonies. So now we gotta establish this and make sure that everything is running smoothly. So I like that part right there.
right. Now what is it? We got the next part of it, which would be provide for the common defense. Now, that's kind of self-explanatory too. Any nation that is a nation that has borders has to be able to defend them borders. You know, so the Constitution is basically promising that the U.S. military will protect the country's citizens as well as its borders and everything else around it. That's the common defense. And they will do what they can to keep peace at home and overseas. You know, because you got to have sound foreign policy overseas in order to have peace at home as well. If you don't have good foreign policy, then you're going to disrupt the peace that you have at home by a potential invading force. So basically, you got to know that the people that you're putting into these positions that are supposed to be a representation of your voice and your moral character is going to do that in a way to where it doesn't breach the peace of foreign nations as well and cause there to be a war that interrupts everybody's peace within this nation.
Oh yeah. Now this is the one thing we can say about this document and what we have here in this country. I mean, say what you want about the United States, but this is where people from other nations have a hard time with and are envious of us because we have this document. I'll let you know. So when they look at it, they say, you guys, man, I would like to come there because of the rights that you guys have and the ability to express yourself. Now, we already know when you compare us to communism, that doesn't work. It's been proven over history time and time again. So, like you said, that first part that you talked about, Snowman, when it talks about we the people, that's basically something that we have truly been blessed with. So a lot of people don't understand that. And my wife, used to say all the time, you know, because she was overseas, and she used to tell people, you guys don't know how blessed you really are living in a country like this, you know, to have these type of liberties and freedoms to do. Other people don't have this.
I agree. Now we get into what's the next part of this. Promote the general welfare. I think this gets misconstrued a lot because welfare meaning well-being, you know, which means being able to live happy and healthy lives.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of people assume that that means that the government is going to provide whatever the citizens need in order for that to happen. And that's not necessarily the case. I don't think it means, you know, government programs and benefits and things like that that are given to you by the government. I think it more so means being allowed to have the opportunity to create your own way of life to where you meet the personal welfare of your needs and your family.
Right.
Don't you think that's fair?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
But I think that, you know, because I looked into a lot of, you know, I read a lot of other people's interpretations of what they thought that all these points meant. And the one thing that I kept coming across was when it came to the promote the general welfare, a lot of people today thought that that meant the government providing some kind of safety net for people. That way they can't fail. And I think that's a gross misinterpretation of what was meant by this statement right here.
Yeah.
Because you got to think, back when this was being written, again, we had just came out of a war. There were a lot of people that had basically exhausted their entire life savings. You know, a lot of people, you know, gave up even a lot of their land in order to fund this and keep it moving. But yet they were still willing to persevere and push forward and do what they needed to do as a nation and as people. And I don't think that necessarily meant I don't think that they were expecting the government to be the ones to give handouts. They were expecting communities to come together as communities and help each other individually, if that was what was needed, but not stand in some bread line with your hand out expecting the government to lift you up.
That's true. That is true.
Where are we? Then we got, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. So this to me is saying that they are going to promise to protect the freedoms of the Americans today and all future generations to come. That the decisions should be made with current citizens in mind, but should also look to the future and see how future citizens may be affected by them as well. Whatever legislation or whatever decisions they may be trying to pass or be put into law. What's your take?
Well, when you look at blessings, you're talking about empowering a people. To me, that's something that we can definitely look into. So it's like, secure the blessings. What is the blessing? I'm empowering you to live your life of freedom and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, and to ensure that everything that you're trying to do within this nation is okay. So that's what it means to me, especially when you talk about blessings. I don't want to get off on my spiritual tangent, but that's what it means. Blessing means to empower.
Well, you know? I think well, even though you don't want to get off on your spiritual tangent, I do believe that God was considered while they were writing these documents. I mean,
Right.
there's evidence of it all throughout the documents.
That is correct.
You know, if the big, you know, you can see that when they say, "Do ordain and establish." I mean, that's invoking God, is it not?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Because God is basically the final arbiter of everything, and he's the only one that can ordain technically and establish anything.
That is correct.
You know, and then where are we? They finish it up with this Constitution. So they're letting you know that what's coming, what you're about to read after this is this Constitution for the United States of America. This is a new Constitution. And in my opinion, this is just my sole opinion, Mr. Revelation. I believe that with the Constitution being the rule book, the supreme law of the land, it's the main playbook on the way all laws and legislations are supposed to be carried on hereafter, and all, you know, as well as how all governments are supposed to conduct themselves, be it federal, state, or local levels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the rule book, the Constitution, then in my honest, humble opinion, I believe firmly that the preamble is the rules to the rule book as to how things are supposed to be done and what is supposed to what things are supposed to be looked at and secured in order for this to even be in this document and be made, have a precedent set for it to be law.
Correct. So when it ends with that, there's something that I would like to read. I apologize for not downloading this because I was looking at so much stuff. But this is something that natural law and the legitimate authority of the United States, articles dated March 15th, 2013 by David Shikoska. I believe that's how you pronounce the name. Sorry if I, he's a licensed attorney and an author. So I'm gonna read what he says about this. Government needs a basis to exercise authority over people. Citizens must accept government authority. A government lacking acceptance of the people over whom it exercises authority will not endure. Such acceptance comes from fear, tradition, or philosophy. Dictators obtain authority by instilling fear of disobedience in the populace. A theocracy ordained by God arises from religious traditions. A monarchy combines religious tradition and fear of the monarch's absolute authority. Communists have gained power with a philosophy based upon the dictatorship of the Poliac. I believe that's how you pronounce that. The United States was founded upon a philosophy of natural law as the source of legitimate legal authority for government. Government by philosophy, understanding, acceptance, and consistent conduct. For a government founded on philosophy to maintain its authority, four things are needed. Number one, understanding by the people of the philosophy, acceptance by the people of the philosophy, conduct by the government consistent with the philosophy, and number four, consent of the governed. Declaration of Independence established natural law, the organizing principle of the United States. So that's something I wanted to read into the record for this broadcast, because there's a lot of things that there's questions that people are asking, but let us get through the basics first, and then we'll get off into the nitty gritty and the down and dirty and some of the stuff that that I know you guys are looking at, current events and what's going on in our country right now. And right now, this document is being shredded before our eyes because it's like the people that we have elected are totally ignoring that. And we're going to get off into that later on. But let us get through the basics. This is what you call watching paint dry,
Right.
but it might refresh your memory on certain things. So,
But
go
I was
ahead.
just going to add to what you were saying, though, that we can delve into it a little bit, which I intended to do just a small fraction today, because with me stating that I believe that the preamble is the rule book, the rules to the rule book, right?
Right.
That means if that were the case, almost all of our local our local city ordinances, or our state codes, or even a vast majority of our federal codes, if those were actually following according to the preamble and the Constitution itself,
Mm-hmm.
you would find that they are all unconstitutional.
Okay. Here's something that go ahead.
Well, I was going to, I believe the reason they get away with it is because of this. David, if you can share my screen with you, with everyone. I pulled this up from the Cornell Law Institute.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. That's the go-to.
Yeah. And what this is doing is, I asked the question, has the Supreme Court ever ruled on the preamble to the Constitution on any way, shape, or form? And this was the answer I got. It says, in the years following the Constitution's ratification, the preamble has had a relatively minor role as a matter of legal doctrine, but an outsized role, particularly outside the courtroom, in broadly embodying the American constitutional vision. With regard to the legal effect of the Constitution's preface, in the early years of the Supreme Court, it did reference the preamble's words in some of the most important cases interpreting Constitution. For example, in 1793, two members of the court cited the preamble in Chisholm versus Georgia to argue that the people, in establishing the Constitution, necessarily subjected the state of Georgia to the jurisdiction of the federal courts in exchange for accomplishing the 6 broad goals listed in the Constitution's preamble. Similarly, in Martin v. Hunter's Lessee, the court relied that the preamble in concluding that the Constitution permitted the court to exercise appellate jurisdiction over the final judgments of the highest court of a state when adjudicating questions of federal law, noting that the Constitution was established by the people under the United States, who in turn had a right to prohibit the states from exercising any powers that were incompatible with the objects of the General Compact, which the General Compact they're talking about is the Constitution. And then also in McCullough versus Maryland, Chief Justice John Marshall echoed these themes in upholding the constitutionality of the national bank, quoting that the words of the preamble are arguing for the supremacy of the law of the people over the laws of the states. Says, now, nonetheless, while the court during the first century of the nation's existence referenced the preamble's language while interpreting the Constitution, it does not appear the court has ever attached any legal weight to the preamble standing alone. That is important.
Mm.
And the reason why that is important is because if you put legal weight on it, then that means that they would have to go back and rewrite or remove a lot of these jurisdictions and laws that actually are counterproductive to what the preamble says. They would have to sit and ask themselves, does this law establish justice? Does it ensure domestic tranquility? Does it provide the common defense? Does it promote general welfare? And does it secure the blessings of liberty? Not just to us, but to our posterity, with every single thing that they write into law. And I believe that is why they've, with a resounding amount of ability. The Supreme Court has always ruled that there is no legal preface for the preamble in the Constitution.
I'm glad you read that, because I did read when I knew that was going to be your subject matter tonight. I did read that, and I read something where that they don't rule anything about the preamble. Everything they rule about is within the confines of the Constitution. So what you're reading is correct.
Right.
So I concur. I co-sign on that one for the record.
Well, I'm looking for one other specific statement that I saw in here that was important as well. While the Supreme Court, it's right here, it says, while the Supreme Court has not viewed the preamble to have much direct legal effect, the court continues to rely on the broad precepts of the Constitution's introduction to confirm or reinforce its interpretation of other provisions within the document.
Yep.
So they use it basically when they want to say whether or not they think something is constitutional or not constitutional, as far as it's weird how they're saying that they use it. You know what I'm saying? They basically use it as an indirect reference to a direct reference of the document that it references.
Yeah. Not that's when I read that. This is basically was doing my preparing for the show tonight was, hey, the Supreme Court is like, the preamble is the preamble, but what we're here to do is rule on this Constitution and that which governs the supreme lawland. Yeah, because that part down there, it says,
well, this part right here that I just highlighted, this is important too, because this is Supreme Court Justice Story's actual written view of the preamble. It says in 1908, the Supreme Court squarely adopted Justice Story's view of the preamble in Jacobson versus Massachusetts, holding that while the Constitution's introductory paragraph indicates the general purposes for which the people ordained and established the Constitution, it has never been regarded as the source of any substantive power conferred on the federal government. Instead, such powers embrace only those expressly granted in the body of the Constitution, and such as may be implied from those so granted. Yep. So basically, what Justice Story said is, all it is a real nice introduction to the actual document that actually either gives or takes away power from the government. But nothing in that preamble is really of any consequence, even though it's literally laying out the ingredients that it takes for something to become part of the Constitution and eventually become law in America.
That is correct. That was pretty good there, Snowman.
You like that, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Now,
I put a little bit of effort in from time to time.
Now, I would like to go over the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. This is just, verbal. You can look it up on Google. It's a civics, history, and government questions for naturalization test. This is what people have to come into our country and study and actually know. And again, I apologize. I should have had this so you guys could read along. But the first part is principles of an American democracy. Question number 1. What is the supreme law of the land? The answer is, go ahead.
The U.S. Constitution.
There you go. Now, question number 2. What does the Constitution do? You have 3 options. Sets up the government, defines the government, protects basic rights of Americans.
Protects basic rights of Americans.
Okay. The idea of self-government is in the first three words of the Constitution. What are these words?
We the people.
There you go. What is an amendment? A change to the Constitution, an addition to the Constitution.
You know, that's a good question because I think it could be both. But I'd be willing to bet in what they're saying is in addition to the Constitution.
There you go. That is correct, sir. What do we call the first 10 amendments? I was going to say commandments. What do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution?
The Bill of Rights.
There you go. What is one right or freedom from the First Amendment? Speech, religion, assembly, press, or petition the government?
All 5 of those are one of the rights from the First Amendment.
I said one, Snowman. You're only supposed to give one.
But all 5 of those are actually in the First Amendment.
Yeah. Number 7, how many amendments does the Constitution have?
27.
Yep. Number 8, what does the Declaration of Independence do? Announce our independence from Great Britain, declare our independence from Great Britain, said that the United States is free from Great Britain.
It's declaring our independence from an authoritarian Great Britain.
Yep. What are 2 rights in the Declaration of Independence? Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
All 3 of those are rights in the Declaration.
What is freedom of religion?
It is actually the freedom to be able to practice and serve whatever God or religion you so deem fit for yourself as a human being. Prior to that, we were all supposed to fall under whatever religion the state or the government deemed was the religion of the country.
Well, the answer is you can practice any religion or not practice a religion at all. So, yeah. So what is the economic system in the United States? Capitalist economy or market economy?
Capitalistic, fair, free and fair trade.
There you go. Last one I'm gonna read from this. What is the rule of law? Everyone must follow the law. Leaders must obey the law. Government must obey the law, or no one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Yeah. There you go. So that is just basics. And then it goes off into, just to give you guys an idea, it goes off into the system of government is the second part. That has basically questions 13 through 30. I think it's almost up to 40. I think it is. Yeah, 36, 37. Oh man, it's more than that. All the way up to 47. And then it goes into C is the rights and responsibilities. And that's questions 48 to 57. Then it gets off into American history, questions 58 through, that should be a little bit longer, 77. And then recent American history and other important historical information.
I think I do all right on the citizenship test.
Yeah.
But I think that people, let me ask your opinion. Do you think that just a minor thing that, just an introductory thing that people should have to do it like in order to vote, because voting should be an important thing. It should be something that's taken serious.
I think I know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
But don't you think that in order to vote, even if you're born in America, and that right's generally just haphazardly given to everybody, right? Yep. And a lot of people, they don't realize how important just that simple right is. And when I say right, I mean RIGHT right, not RIT right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Don't you think that in order to vote, don't you think you should have to take a citizenship test on some level in order to prove that you understand what it is you're doing?
Well, also to add to that, I would add the word privilege. It's an honor and a privilege to to cast your vote. So the old saying goes, you have no right to complain if you have not exercised your right to vote. So for me, I think you should understand the basics as to what the government should do. So that way, when we start breaking down the municipalities, the state, and then the federal, then that's going to be something that we can understand, because you always everything starts at the local level. Your city, then your state, which is your city is your municipality. Then you go to your state, and then you go on the federal level. So there are things that you can do at the local level to where you can get involved in and see what's going on, because what's going on right now, as we get off into this later on, there's some questions in the chat. I hear what you're saying, T.
Yeah, he's on it, man. He's nailing it. But right now, we're just trying to get an introduction to people that don't have a full understanding.
He's gonna be one of them folks that he's gonna be setting the chat on fire.
He's gonna be down there, basically pushing back on everything that we say.
Yeah, I understand where he's getting to, but just hold. See, if you think what you're doing right now is nice, you have no idea what's getting ready to come. As they used to say in one particular movie, no one can stop what is coming. No, right. Because the things that we're going to break down on this, my goodness, even I was shocked. And after we end this broadcast, I know me and the fellas going to be in the back talking about some things, because I sent out some information to where I had a friend yesterday, Snowman. He called me up. He didn't get 10 or 20 minutes into the thing. He's like, hey, he called me by another name. He said, hey, I said, look, man, just finish watching the video. You'll understand. And dude, it was basically what we saw.
I tried watching a couple of those videos today, but I was like, man, I can't get into Illuminated shit already today, man, because I'm trying to get this.
No, the last one I sent you was actually dealing with the topic tonight, but we can't talk about it. We'll talk about it in the back chat once we, end this. But let me see, can I do this? This is going to be my first time. I hope I don't mess this up. I'm going to try to share my screen, video files, slides.
When you go to present, right? You'll go present. You will either
my computer.
Yeah,
it's my computer.
Correct.
And upload a file.
All right. Unless you got a file, then you go to video file and click that.
Well, it's actually it's a PDF.
Well, so then just if you got the PDF already pulled up, just hit share screen, and then you'll see a list at the on the tab. There'll be a tab under whatever you're using, and it'll have a list of all the other tabs that are opened up under that operating system tab.
Okay. Yeah,
and then you pick whatever tab that you're wanting to show that has that PDF in it.
Okay. I want to start with, let's start with the top, which is the federal level. I want to go here. Let's see. Open.
But all I'm telling you, I guarantee you when we start dropping links, T is going to be the first one to hit that link every time. Ever.
Yeah. Let's see. Now let me see. Can I present? Share screen.
And then you have that. Then you got to tell Black David to share whatever screen you just shared.
Okay. And then I'll
or tell production, hey production, I got something I need you to share.
Yeah. All right, Black David. What in the world is that? Oh, Brave. Okay. Natural law. Nope. That's video.
But yeah, while he's getting his file pulled up, the whole point in me wanting to share and talk about the preambles, I just wanted to point out that, in my honest opinion, the type of law and order that we live under today, the type of judicial systems that we have today, and the type of the way our Justice Department runs today, it literally violates all the tenets of what the Constitution was set up to actually protect us against.
That is correct.
And I just wanted to show you guys, not only from my understanding, but also give you real legal precedent through, when I pulled up the legal documents from the Cornell Law Institute, and actually show you that they've actually ruled on this. And I, in my humble opinion, I believe that that is the reason why they've ruled on it the way they have, is because they know if it was ever ruled that the preamble actually has legal precedent, that they would have to go back and they would have to rewrite or remove altogether a whole bunch of laws. And I'd be willing to bet that they would have to scrap the United States Code altogether.
That's true. This is not working out at all. This sucks.
What is that?
I haven't had, I'm trying to get to the actual file that I actually saved. I saved the file.
Open the PDF up, and if it won't let you open up the actual PDF file, just share your entire screen, and then you can go to the PDF that way. Because what it'll do is it'll share your entire desktop on your computer.
Yeah, I just saw that. I was like, people don't need to see all that. Let's see. So go to share screen. Window, entire screen.
But yeah, man. And the reason why I thought that this would be great for me to do it with Illuminated is because me and him, we agree and disagree just the right amount to where we argue with each other, but we'll concede. Generally, it's me conceding because he knows a little bit more than me.
Hey, David, can you see that?
But, it gives you, like I said, him and I we'll give you an unbiased view of things that are going on. We'll look at things honestly, rather than trying to give you a statist or a liberal or a Republican or conservative view of it. We'll give you an American's viewpoint on it, because that's the lens that I try to look at things through, is through the lens of being an American.
Hey, David, can you see that now? I got my whole screen pulled up here. Can you see that, Snowman?
He says nope. He doesn't see anything.
Well, I'll tell you the doggone truth. What the heck? We gotta get better than this. We gotta be a little bit more
I don't know what this look. This is why they have the young guy on here too, because generally I'll be the one. I'll just have him send me his documents. That way we can share them properly in the right way, and we don't have to sit and deal with him not knowing how his computer works.
Oh, okay. So now, does he see anything now?
Do you see anything now, production? Nope.
Okay.
I can't see either. I don't know what you're doing.
Well, yeah. Chrome has lost permission. Trying to whatever. All right. Basically, I wanted to share the PDF, basically breaking down the Constitution and the government of the United States as far as the three branches, so people can have a visual of that. I
was actually going to start tearing into that on the next one, because on the next one we're actually going to start going into the archives.
Okay. Well, just basically, there are three branches of government: legislative, executive, and judicial. And when you look at the executive branch, we can we can save that for next week, but it breaks off into what we always say in these YouTube streets, the alphabet community and different various departments and stuff. So next time we'll practice this, and I'll make sure I learn how to do this and be a lot more professional. But this is my first time doing this, so
hey, I'll help you with it over the week or something. I'll because I got like what they got, a YouTube studio that I use just for having people come in and have discussions with, and
Okay.
I can show you how to do all this stuff through there.
All right. So basically, what we can do is we continue on with the show. What we can do is get off into what we're into now is what we call the 118th Congress. And
Yep.
Congress consists of 535 total members, both male and female. We have to say that
Both
nowadays.
House and Senate.
Yeah, 435 serve in the U.S. House and 100 serve in the Senate. And in the House, currently the majority rule is the Republicans. There's 222 Republicans, plus two delegates and one resident commissioner of Puerto Rico. The Democrats have 213 plus 3 delegates and 1 vacant seat. In the Senate, there's 49 representatives and 48 Dems and 3 independents who all caucus with the Democrats. So that's how, and the majority leader is Kevin McCarthy in the House, and the majority leader is old Chuck Schumer. So, and
Kamala Harris, president of the Senate.
Yeah, she, you know, I don't want to get off into I'm trying to maintain my integrity here. Joe Biden is the one that's sitting in the White House. Kamala Harris is the vice president. You have 9 Supreme Court justices. Chief Justice Roberts is the Chief Justice at this time. I believe he's been there since 2005, I believe it is.
Wasn't it Sotomayor before him?
Yeah, I think she's Associate Justice now. I'm surprised Clarence Thomas wasn't, because he's been there the longest, I think, him and Alito. So and then you have, like I said, I went over Congress, I went over the president. I really wanted to break down the next week when we get off into it. We want to break down the president's cabinet, who sits in there, who sits on the Supreme Court justices, and those are the 2. Yeah, yep. I really want to get off into that. And then down here, I'll mail. I should have mailed it to the admin so he could have shared this, because then below the executive branch, it gets off into all these other government and I don't want to say non-government agencies, but federal government agencies that the government owns. And when people see this list, it's going to be shocking, you know, as to how the government actually operates.
Yeah, well, yeah, and what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to show why things seem to never get done and why everything seems to always stay the same.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yep.
Like when we get into it, one of the other things that I plan on digging deep into is getting people to understand what a House and Senate majority really is.
Yeah.
You know, because I think a lot of folks have a very big misunderstanding of what, you know, even when they say supermajority, where, you know, they have a majority of House and Senate. I think they have a misunderstanding of what that really means.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
and then it goes also too, Angry Man, I'm glad you said that, because next week we can get off into how the president's cabinet is formed and who votes on them and how that vote is calculated. You know, some can
if anybody paid attention to Trump's presidency, you'd think they would know how the cabinet is put together, because he was one of the first presidents in history to have only he was running with 50% of his cabinet his entire first 5 years.
That's true. That is true. They would, a lot of his nominations they didn't even go through. Now to be fair, I heard Ted Cruz says in one of the Senate hearings where Trump had sent some folks over and they actually rejected them, whereas the Democrats are rubber stamping everything Joe Biden is sending up there. And when you listen to some of these, and that's what we can do too, as we get the show in moving forward. That's something we can do. I would like to play some of the confirmation hearings of some of the people, and when you listen to some of this stuff, you're just gonna be like, it sort of cosigns of what you said, why stuff never gets done. If you look at some of the people that have been nominated this last, let's say, 2 years, I watch this stuff. I don't want to say religiously, but I watch it and I just shake my head and be like, you guys got to be kidding me. Are you seriously putting this person up for this office? Federal court. See, one thing I kind of don't like what Trump did was when he came out with that list, that's when they opened up their eyes. Like he told Obama, thanks, you gave me a gift. And he started filling them up left and right. And they was like, okay, we cannot let him win another 4 years because he'll just run the table and have all the federal. And that's why I say we break down the federal, the circuit and all that stuff next week, and break all that down. And like I say, we'll be a lot more organized. And like I say, this is basically an introduction, but he did some really things that, like you said, he was only operating with 50% of his cabinet.
Right. And if you think about it, in any other circumstance, if you're only operating with 50% of the operating capacity, I mean, you ain't doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But look what he still got done, though. That was the amazing thing. And people, well, I mean, I know they got this anthem about hate Trump, this Trump, but the videos I've been watching, some of the political people that have been going on the street, they have been, especially with the quote unquote, I don't say that other word, people of color, African Americans, a lot of people like Trump or Biden, there's like, and these are supposed to be the uneducated, and they're telling them straight up, no, we're voting for Trump 2024. I heard one guy say, and this is a black dude too. He was like, Trump 2024. Even if they send Trump to jail, I'm still voting for Trump. And they say he's going to be the first president that's going to run a nation from his jail cell.
We'll be running the country from protective custody holding cell.
Yeah. So for just
all the Sun people I've been talking to personally in my life, like they all say that they're voting for Trump. Even the ones that you would expect to usually vote left, be voting on a liberal platform. They're like, nah, man, this Biden experiment didn't work out the way that we were led to believe.
Exactly. But you still got some people, believe it or not, Snowman, that when you
they're right or die, man.
Yeah, they hate this man so much to where it's like,
I don't even think it's that they
anybody but Trump. And then they asked this one girl, it's a question pertaining to the pandemic. I gotta find that video so I can play it next week. If he asked her a series of questions, but the one that stuck out was, if your parents had to die in order for you to get Trump out of office, she said, hey, that's life. And her parents were standing right there.
Wow.
They didn't show her, but I'm sitting up there looking like, if y'all got that much vitriol and hatred and animosity that you're willing to let your parents die. Wow. I said something. Wow. That's why I said, we talked about it on the other night, on Friday night. Me and Lost in Translation was.
Yeah, sorry, I missed Friday night too. By the way, I had a rough day with the kids, man. And
like I said, you got family. Family comes first, bro.
Well,
me and Lost in Translation was talking, and the cognitive dissonance is just unreal. And when we get off into that, and you're going to find out, this is just not the basis of the Constitution. There's other things we're going to get into, because September is coming and October is coming. And I will say this, they're amping up something to where
the October surprise is coming, sir.
Yeah. Well, no, that's actually September. September. They're already amping up for it. So I don't want to say that word. This is my first broadcast. I have to be careful because, oh boy,
Well, I
but
know
it's
like
just one of those.
me and Casey Mo on his channel, we're going to be tearing apart the whole 9/11 thing on 9/11.
Well, one of the things that the truth movement did do is expose the level of hypocrisy. And one of the acid tests that the truth people have in some cases, I'll just speak for myself. If you're still struggling with 9/11, the conversation really can't go any further past that. Because if you're still struggling with that, and what I mean by that, if you feel as though the narrative that has been preached for all these years, then that's something that you're going to have to do your own, as we used to say, due diligence, and do your own research. I'm not going to get off into it on this channel, but just do your research. Most of the content creators that walk in this type of space, I would call it conspiratorial space. One thing we always ask you to do is do your research, get your receipts, get your documentation together, because here on this channel, one thing, the people that have met me and have become familiar with me, I'm going to bring you receipts. I'm going to bring you receipts. Maybe not on this channel, but we're in discussions into doing it to where we may have to move some things over to another channel, because as we talked about briefly just tonight about the preamble, one of the first things about our Constitution is freedom of speech. And that is under an all-out assault right now, Absolutely. So we're going to have to maneuver. We're going to have to learn how to use languages and things of that nature to where we can still communicate, get the truth out there, and really fight for this country. Because if we don't, 2024 is it. If we lose 2024, this country is over. Some say it's over already. Some say the republic is lost, but I'm still holding out a ray of hope. I pray God would spare his judgment, but it's coming. But we, the people, as Snowman has so eloquently put it, we, the people, are going to have to get it together and really fight, because one of the most worst things you can do as a nation is do nothing. The old saying is, how does evil triumph? Good men stand by and do nothing.
Right.
So we see it, we call it out, and this is a war. This is not a game, So we have to get in there and fight, and it's costing. We have lost some really good people that were speaking the truth about this stuff, and they paid with it dearly with their lives. And the truth costs you. It straight up costs you.
I mean, look, I know firsthand that the truth costs you. They'll spare no expense to try and silence you and go as far as to put you in prison just because you went against what they said. Some of my closest friends are sitting in federal prison as we speak right now.
You might. I'm gonna share a picture with you once we get off this. I gotta find it, but I got your number. But this picture, I saw one of the January 6th people. You wouldn't believe where they got him locked up at, Snowman. You would not believe. So this is what the Constitution is supposed to be about. This is what we're dealing with now: is election interference, prosecuting your political opponent. It's out there. It's not hearsay. It's factual.
Well, look, on that topic, it's never been against the law to question the integrity of the election. I mean, you have Hillary Clinton to this very day
Still says
she won the election against Trump. Still says that was rigged. You have what's her name down in Georgia who was
Stacey Abrams.
Stacey Abrams, who was running for governor, who still says that election was fraudulent. And if you look at it, every single Democratic operative that has had an election, when Gore lost, he
There you
questioned
go.
whether the election was fair or if it was corrupt. When who else? When Clinton lost, she questioned it.
You can go back as far as Kennedy and Nixon.
Right. But see, the thing is nobody's ever been prosecuted for it. The fact that they're to weaponize words now, that they're trying to make it where you look, folks, free speech was never intended to protect popular speech. If it was intended to protect popular speech, you wouldn't need it protected.
That is correct. It's sad, man. To be at this age that I'm in now, to see the country that I grew up in now, to be the way it is, it's sad. And then serving in the military those years, going overseas, not to embellish my record, but I served, and it's like you watch this and it's like, wait a minute, what are we doing here? And then say what he did is the same thing that the guy that's sitting in the office has done. As a matter of fact, y'all found a whole bunch scattered all over the place, but nothing is being done about that. It's get Trump, no matter what, get Trump. And when people talk about this two-tier justice system, if they do it to a sitting president or former sitting president, what do you think is going to happen to you as a citizen? So whether you like the man, disagree with him, hate his politics, whatever, all I'm asking you people to do your own research, because this next thing that they're getting ready to introduce, trust me when I tell you, you're going to have to be armed to the teeth and refuse it, because if you don't, I don't know what to tell you.
Look, dude, what they're doing now, weaponizing the Justice Department against political rivals is a fast track to authoritarianism. Yeah, I mean, if this allows, first off, if you want my opinion, I think the Supreme Court should have already stepped in, and somebody should have brought this to the Supreme Court. This should have been, done away with, because you should not be able to continue to try and bring charges on a political opponent just because you're afraid he might win. And that's what this is about, plain and simple. Nothing the man has done has been a violation of any law, except for when they said that he allegedly bribed or paid someone off. That could in some ways be construed, but they never even brought any evidence forth to prove that he paid anybody off.
Oh, you're talking about Stormy Daniels. I thought you were going to talk about the alleged classified documents and stuff. So that's what
the classified documents that he took. They keep and that's how well our media works. They show you a room full of boxes and got all the American people believing that all these boxes in this room are full of classified documents. When the reality of it is, if you actually read the indictment and look at what they're talking about, there are 27 pieces of paper that they are calling illegal classified documents. Not this big wall full of boxes that they keep showing the American people to grandstand and mislead them into thinking that this man walked out of the White House with thousands upon thousands upon thousands of classified documents.
Well, what about the guy in the garage? What about his boxes? We haven't seen not one photo. All we know is the reports, what is being reported and what is being alleged. I can't even say alleged because it's being reported. It's a fact.
My question is if with that going on, if they want to do that with Trump, then we already know that the FBI and the Justice Department lied intentionally, and we're getting a hold of Twitter, and they admitted they were suppressing information about that laptop. Why are not the people that were in charge of that being indicted themselves for misleading the people of this nation into believing one way and keeping the truth from them, and doing it on a political stage, doing it in the political arena, doing it just so they could sway votes one way or the other?
And don't forget about those beautiful 51 intelligence agencies. They put their name on that. And to me, it's like when you did that, I mean, it was just like, it's to me, this is what's happening. What they did was they indicted the man. Guess what he gets ready to do? He has the right for due process. Now, back in my old home state, where you at right now, where I grew up at in Muskegon, Michigan, they did a raid. They found 8 to 10,000 boxes of ballots, weapons, doggone burner phones. All this was done right around October 2020, but the Attorney General, she suppressed it. That's a fact.
Just like they were suppressing video evidence of, people that were supposedly poll watchers, keeping Republican poll watchers. The Democrats were in there counting in right up front. But when you do, what people don't understand is when they have these polling officials working in polling offices, you're supposed to have both Republican and Democrat represented.
Equal representation.
There. And what they were doing is they were literally using C-19 at the time as an excuse to force the people that would be overseeing and making sure that, the counting of everything is being done in a correct manner, in a honorable way, in a just way, that they were keeping them in another room entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Where they could only
I remember
it's insane the things that they were allowed to get away with, and the fact that all of these court cases, every time a case went in front of a state, the state level Supreme Court,
judicial?
None of the judges would allow any evidence to be presented. None of them.
Everybody talking about he lost. They were never presented. He lost. I think he lost 2 and won 1, or won 2 or lost 1. So it's like now with due process, he gets to present the evidence. And the domino effect, I think we have Michigan, Georgia,
Wisconsin,
Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada.
Wisconsin was one of the big ones too.
No, I'm saying is the reason why I say Wisconsin for last is because the order of what this thing is going in, you have New York, Florida, Georgia, Arizona. She's talking about indicting Trump possibly for a 5th indictment. For what, I don't know. But
because he said things.
Yeah, where I look at it, Michigan is falling. Okay.
Yeah,
New York is falling
from being a Sharia law state.
Yeah, New York is falling. They released the indictment before they even convicted the man, and now you're saying he's disqualified, and he hasn't even been convicted. So I'm just you say what you want. People better wake up and find out what this kangaroo court and this banana republic that they're trying to make us into, and really look at what the heck is going on. So with that,
Illuminated, I'm not sitting here, siding with Trump. Me and Illuminated got into a lot of really, heated discussions because I question a lot of things Trump do and has, and I've called him out on a lot of shit. So I don't want people to think that I'm just one of those pro-Trump MAGA Republicans that think that he's coming of Jesus Christ, because I don't.
Nope.
But what I will do is I will sit and I will look at things, and I will give some discernment. I have no problem pointing out the flaws in his presidency as well as the positives that he was able to do.
That is correct. I mean, it's just one of those things
that he promised that pissed me off that he never did. And the biggest one was when he never pardoned the Bundys and the Hammonds. That was his first campaign promise. The very first campaign promise he made was to pardon the patriots that were wrongfully imprisoned in Nevada. That was his first campaign promise, and he never even did it.
Well, the one that I'm pissed off is about he didn't pardon Julian Assange. because Julian Assange everything. If
He should have
pardoned him
too.
Well, yeah, there's mixed reviews on that one too. But Julian Assange, when Julian Assange dropped WikiLeaks, it was a wrap. When we saw all the Podesta emails and all that, and the thing that really upsets me is, you said he did all this illegal stuff, but Hillary Clinton is still walking around.
Right. You know,
I'm just like,
I mean, it's literally come out that, you know, like with I'm over it. I'm over honest Americans who are trying to do what's right, and when they take the oath, they actually live by the oath they take, being made to be, you know, criminals and homegrown terrorists, as so to speak, in this country, and the real criminals, you know, being allowed to run roughshod over the American people and just do what they want.
well, on that, my friend, I guess we can go ahead and end this show, because that was a good note to end. You know, there are good American people that are really trying to do what's right and being punished for it, and it's wrong. I don't care what anybody say. I don't care what color you are. You know, it's just wrong. You know, people getting arrested for doing the right thing, and criminals just do whatever the hell they want. So appreciate you, my friend, and we're going to go ahead and end the show. And then next week, guys, we're going to go and get off, and I'll have my stuff together, and we'll go over to Three Branches Government. But I really want to get off into those cabinet appointments, and then you can see why things are so stagnant. And we'll play a couple of videos of how the confirmation hearings are conducted, and just prepare yourself for the level of just, I don't even know. I can't even put it into words. When you
I got an idea for a game to play with the viewers and listeners too. When we come on, it's going to be called. It's going to be a 10-minute segment called "Stump the Old Man." Can you bring up anything as far as conspiratorial or constitutional or otherwise that is along the lines of the topic of our platform that we have on this show, and stump the old man?
Wow. As they say, respect your elders, people. Respect your elders. All right, my friend. We're going to go ahead and end the show.
With
David,
that,
you can take.
We say goodbye. Shout out to BMU and the BMU network in allowing us to get on here to do this. Couldn't do it without them, and we couldn't do it without all you guys out there to support us.
Appreciate you guys. Hope to see y'all soon. Hey, we got a super chat. Mo Freestyle. All right. Appreciate you, my friend. Hey.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate you guys, man.
We may do a live stream after this one's over, if for those that are over here that follow my main channel too. Might go over and talk some more conspiratorial shit.
All right, my friend. We're going to go ahead and end the show. Go ahead and end it, Brother David. God bless you.